That is the wonderful sound of 30 warriors clipping in for battle on a mild Saturday morning on the south coast of England. We're down at the outdoor velodrome at Mountbatten, Portsmouth for another Racing Club Amiga Saturday series. We've already seen Bertie pick up his second win here and secure his third cat licence, along with Denise racing for the first time with Mossa. So now it's the turn of us in the third cats. Okay, we're going to jump straight into the footage here. So, as I said, Mountbatten is outdoor velodrome, so nice and easy to get your head around. Just keep turning left. Really good if you're just getting into crit racing, as it's a nice, fast, smooth circuit to get stuck into. So we had 5 Mossas racing in this race. We had myself, Jamie. We had Lee on his first race back from sickness, so chapeau. We had Matt, Richard and Adam. We'd kind of had a bit of a chat before the race about what we wanted to do, and being kind of recognisable as a team, we wanted to be on the front foot for this race, and that does mean attacking. We thought we would throw some counters and some attacks and really try and get some of us up the road, try and stack the break and kind of put the race into our favour. You can see here as we just let the first couple of laps roll through that I actually started in a really poor position towards the back. So if you are just getting into crit racing, try and be near the front on the start line, because then it puts you in a much more advantageous position. And Leah and I will testify to being the kings of faff. We can see here, third lap in, I'm just moving up on the outside there. Now this back straight section was a very slight tailwind, so this was the place to go. Rear cam in the top left there, you can see I've got Matt into my wheel, and we're going to try and move up and launch something nice and early here. Again, like I said, trying to stack the brake and ideally have 2 of us in there. We're going past Richard in the rear cam there and Adam, who were in a much better starting position than me. And as we come round, there's a little bit of a gap, power on the left there, and we're just going to whack it. Try and get up to these guys in front that are burying themselves. Matt's still in the wheel, so that is a perfect situation for us there. And this is strung out. We're doing 55, 54k an hour, coming around the final bit of that tailwind section, and we've made a bit of a junction here. So what's this? There's 4 guys here who made the early move. I'm shouting at this guy to come in. He doesn't fancy it. So 4 guys made it, and then I think Matt and I brought another guy over with us as well. So this is actually a pretty good brake size as we again come round into the tailwind here, and I'm probably trying to be cheeky and pull through here so that I don't have to pull through onto the headwind section. Matt had said before he really wanted to experience what it's like in a breakaway, so again, team tactics there, trying to help each other out and get both of us up the road. So I'm really sorry, Matt, but I flick him through onto the headwind section coming past start finish line. But he actually does something really good on the velodrome here, and he swings off up the bank so that as he comes back down, he can get a little bit of a slingshot from the banking there. This other chap comes through to the front there as well, just around the outside. Not quite as smooth as we wanted, but you can see in the rear camera there in the top left that the bunch is actually coming back. So I've got a feeling that guy probably slingshotted himself over to our move and didn't really want to see it go. So this is about to be stitched back together by the bunch. Heart rate's pretty high for me, but as I kind of noticed that, take a step back. So we skip forward a couple of laps here, and now it's time to do what we said we were going to do beforehand, which is whack it. So coming around the outside there, again, tailwind section, just finishing that tailwind. So I've used the wind to get me up to speed, and you can see by the power on the left there, just put the hammer down. I'm not looking behind at the moment, and the bunch is just strung out. There's no real gap formed there. So a bit of a futile attack, but an attack nonetheless. And if I'm doing 600 watts on the front trying to get away with it, then there's going to be people behind doing that as well, trying to hold on. And there goes teammates. This is team tactics 101. I've had an attack, but then as I'm brought back, Adam straight over the top, and he whacks it and counters. And he actually gets a couple of people going over, but drips and drabs more people. And we'd said before that we wanted to stack the break, and it gets to a point where you don't want to allow too many up the road and for your teammate to be isolated. So I'm following the wheels there, and actually this one's going to get stitched back together. But as it gets stitched back together, what time is it then? It's time to send it. 700 watts again on the front. Heart rate's really in the red line, so that is probably above threshold heart rate for me. But this time there's a bit of a gap. So these counters are really starting to build up now. It's wearing down. Eventually the elastic will snap, and it's just trying to have the legs to be able to keep doing this and keep countering. Much more beneficial when you've got 5 teammates that you know can just keep going and swinging the haymakers. If you're on your own, it's going to get tiring pretty quickly. So it's just the benefit of working as a team, and it's something we really wanted to do at Mossa. So this is a little group that's formed. The guy from Muden there, head down, whacking it, and this guy in front didn't really want to follow that. I've got a feeling that I'd looked behind here and seen that the bunch was coming back, and thought, actually, I'm going to try and save something. The last 2 attacks were biting quite hard, and I was just thinking about the next attack that's coming, really. Like I said, even though we've got 5 of us, these big full gas attacks can start to add up, and especially as the brake's not going, we'd have probably hoped that kind of 13 laps in, the brake might have gone at this point. So I'm on the front, so I'm in a strange position here, and I've just seen Adam, teammate, as well, go up the road, and this isn't crazy attacks, but they're just rolling away. And this is what I mean about the elastic, is that guys are tired from chasing, that sometimes it's not the full Matthew van der Poel 1500 watt attack that gets you away. It can just be the timing of just rolling off the front. So again, you can see my power spike there, because I'm just a little bit concerned that there's probably too many riders that have got into that little move that had just kind of rolled off the front there. But as I was on the front, I was glass pedaling, doing nothing, trying to let Adam get away there. And the pace has picked up again, and so someone's on the front of that little group. There's small splits, so you just get the feeling that that elastic is really stretching at the moment. And we're here in the wheels. We got Richard in front, who's making his way up for us, which is great. So there's potentially one of our kind of teammate counter attacks that's being wound up. Pace is dying, 0 watts, absolutely chilling, 45k an hour, and there goes Rich. So that's perfect timing, team tactics wise, and execution, really. Little spike of power from me there, and the reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to get to the front. So we've seen Richard go off on his counter attack, and I've seen that Adam's on the front as well. So what I want to do is do a little bit of a spike of power, get to the front. Adam and I can then try and glass pedal a little bit, mark any moves that might be going over, and just stop it getting a bit chaotic. You can see here there's one guy in no man's land, and Matt, our teammate, has bridged up to him. He's taken a few riders with him, but we had said before the race that we wanted to try and stack the break in our favour. We wanted 2 people in it. So that would be the reason for Matt making that move there. And you can see left-hand side that Rich has got a really nice gap here. Matt wasn't able to bridge, but that's not the end of the world. That gap is still large, and we're still in an advantageous position of being able to get on the front, mark moves, or glass pedal. Down into this tailwind section again, where the speed is going to ramp up. Adam there following wheels. But unfortunately, Rich does get brought back by that bunch, kind of putting the power down. skip forward again a couple of laps here. So this is lap 23, and I'm towards the front, and we're getting a little attacked as a team. So now it's the question of where are we as a unit? What are our plans as per our pre-race briefing, and how are we going to adapt to this situation? So no doubt that as a team we're a little bit tired now. We've attacked and attacked and attacked, and we haven't quite made it stick. But just as I'm saying that, Adam goes straight over the top. Perfect timing again into that tailwind section, and is able to try and get over there and get himself into this move. So this is nearly halfway through the race, and the brake still hasn't gone. So this is spicy. And the heart rate has been up and down. But there's 7 guys now up the road, and Adam's slingshot was so perfect that he's managed to get into that move with those 6 other chaps. And now for me, it's a case of, okay, what can I do to assist him in making this breakaway as successful as possible? And the way to do that is to try and disrupt the chase. Now, this is going to be a little bit controversial to everyone watching, and to be fair, I tried to be as polite and political as possible, but this is bike racing, and we really want to try and get a team result here. And actually, what we said we wanted to do beforehand has kind of happened. We would have preferred to have probably 2 of us in this move of 7, but the fact we've got Adam after all of the attacks that we've been doing is fantastic. So you can see that the guys on the front of the bunch here are trying to rotate and trying to bring this move back. Now they've already got about, what is that? A quarter of a lap. And on these outdoor velodromes, it's really good or really quite easy to get that little bit of a lap, and then it's all about how far you can drive it. So I'm going to put a bit of a spike of power in here because I'm going to bridge up to these guys. I've seen them as a little bit of a threat, and this can probably go one of 2 ways. I bridge up, and I've got the gap that you can see in the rear camera, and I'm going to sit on. I'm going to do no work here, and you're going to see my power drop. But if these guys want to work and they want to bring me over to my teammate Adam for me doing no work, that's brilliant. If these 2 guys don't quite have the power to get over to the brake on their own, then fine. I've marked it out. No one has made it over to the brake and disrupted my teammate. And we're back as we were, Adam trying to break away and get into that, hopefully, race-winning move. So I'm just sat in here. This is a free ride. I'm not going to contribute. I'm just sat on this Brighton Wheelers chap's wheel. I will give a shout out to the Lacquer Pedal Mafia chap on the front. He was really trying to drill this, and you could feel when he was on the front. He was giving it full beans, trying to get over. He was trying to kind of encourage and coordinate things, but just not quite happening for him. But fair play, mate. It was impressive what you were doing. So I've just let him slot in, and this is helping your teammate kind of 101. And again, I'm just going to let this gap go. He puts a bit of a surge in. You can see what I mean. My power spiked up to 500 watts there because he's putting in some mega turns. Brighton Wheelers chap didn't want to pull back in, but that's absolutely fine. I will come up to the Lacquer fellas wheel, and I'm going to sit there. And it's brilliant. From a selfish Mossa point of view, I actually thought there I'm going to be slightly nicer there. I just pulled up the banking, and I've just let a couple more chaps come through. If they want to pull through, they can. Maybe you could say I'm being too nice, and I should have just kept blocking. But the gap isn't massive, so that Lacquer chap has really done a big turn to try and keep this as. You could say that this is probably bridgeable for someone if they wanted to really go for it. And this, unfortunately, is coming back. And is slowly being stitched back together by these guys on the front that are starting to do some bigger turns. You can see 500, 400 watts in the wheel. I'm just going to let this guy slot back in. Now, up ahead in the breakaway, there were two guys that we've sort of already seen on this footage. So one racing for the Precise Performance race team, and the other guy for VC Muden. And you can see guy on the front here. Now it's bridgeable. He's putting in the big dig to try and get over and stitch this back. But those two chaps, and I'm really sorry guys, I don't know your names, but they actually managed to sneak away from the group of 7. You can kind of see it happening up on the footage ahead there. And Adam told me afterwards that those guys were really giving it some. And one of the moves I was in earlier in the race, the Precise Performance race team guy actually bridged up to me and came past, and wow, the power he was putting down. I was on the limit, and he just came past me, and he looked like he was putting in no effort. So fair play to him. He was super strong, and the same for the VC Muden guy. And you can see the two of them just going around into turn 2 there. So they had broken away from that bunch and were probably the strongest guys on the day. And at this point, with the race coming back together, we have unfortunately missed that move. My legs at this point were really struggling. I did consider the massive bridge here, but when it's not going to happen. And we'd just seen a couple of moments ago that Richard came through trying to do something, and at this point I knew I didn't have the legs to get up to those guys. And obviously Adam had been working really hard in that breakaway to try and get up there with them. So he was probably a little bit cooked as well. And same for Matt, and same for Rich, and same for Meady in the bunch, that we'd obviously been trying those early haymakers. And it's one of those that we had a plan, we executed it really well at the start, but spoiler alert, that is the move that goes, and those two do stay away. It's just that the break you miss is the one, and unfortunately that's one of the perils of bike racing. But super proud of the boys and what we did at the start here. We came out swinging, we did exactly what we wanted to do, and it just didn't quite work out in the way in which we wanted it to. But certainly food for thought for next time, about maybe trying to pace our efforts a little bit, trying to think about who's attacking where. Do we need to save someone for that kind of half an hour into the race where that elastic may snap, and we can make sure that we're represented. At this point now, we're actually trying to organise a little bit of a chase. And I dropped back a little bit and spoken to some of the other Mossa boys and said, can we get to the front? Can we at least try? And you can see I'm whacking it a bit at the front here. And this chap just coming through now in the red and black kit, he was really up for it. And people were rolling through, but I think the aggressive nature at the start of the race was just putting us under a little bit too much pressure. Legs were a bit cooked, and it just wasn't meant to be. But I would absolutely, and this is part of the Mossa way of racing, rather we come in with a bit of a plan to attack, be aggressive in the race, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we don't just want to sit in, we don't just want to wait for something to happen, we want to be on the front foot, we want to be racing it aggressively, and ultimately having fun. And after the race we all said there's nothing more fun than seeing those counter-attacks fly and seeing one of your mates just go straight over the top. And you'll probably see here from the lap counter now, so this is coming into the last 5 laps. So we've skipped forward a bit. Those 2 guys are gone. They're actually going to lap the field. So chapeau, fellas. That's one hell of a ride. But now we're thinking about trying to get organised for the finish. So we're racing for a podium spot. Now the way at which it works at Mountbatten is that it's all timed. So on the side of the track, they will give you a 10-minute to go board. They'll then give you a 5 minutes to go board, and then they'll give you lap counters for 3 2 and 1 lap to go, obviously signified by the bell. So when it's full gas racing, it can be really difficult to see the boards and know what's happening. And this is a bit of a kind of faux pas on my account here. So in my role as road captain for the team, I should probably be aware of what's going on. And another little nuance at Mountbatten is that you have to cover up your head unit screen, because this is a track, and track rules state that you can't have a head unit. So I didn't realise how little of the race we had to go until probably we come round this turn 4 here, and we're probably a little bit too far back in the bunch. So my fault on that, lads. I will put my hands up that I should have realised what was going on. But we're not actually in a horrendous position. So what we've decided to do here is we've decided to try and lead Adam out. So Adam is now our designated sprinter, and he is on my wheel, as you can see in the rear cam in the top left. Adam is a great sprinter. He was in the break earlier, and I said to him, how do you feel about having a go? And I got a response from him. I said, just try your best, mate. We're just going to go for it. Fair play to him. He does get stuck in. So I'm trying to move up now onto, and you can see Matt, another one of our teammates there. He's on the inside, so he's in a really nice position there. He's on the pursuit line, shortest line around the track. And there are little gaps on the inside there. So if we do need to move up, there's probably some opportunities. So we come around, 2 laps to go now. Matt's wheel. I've still got Adam in my wheel, and I'm looking in between my legs to see if I can see his bright white Shimano shoes, and his lovely, they must be fresh, white socks as well. And Matt here, little surges, trying to move up. But on the front, it is kind of going full chat now. We're doing 50k an hour, coming around turn 3, and this is really the time to move up. We are about to take the bell lap. Big push from Matt here. Look at this man go, and a little bit of cyclocross. Love it. It's like following Tom Pidcock. Still on the inside, still drilling it, and this is now bell lap. So time to get excited and time to do something. Matt's managed to move us up a little bit. Still got Adam in the rear cam, and this is where it goes a little bit crazy, but this is exciting. This is bike racing. I've got Richard up ahead as a wheel, so I'm thinking, can I get to him? I've still got Adam there, and I'm just trying to pilot him as best as possible. Little squeeze, big surge on the power as we come round towards turn 4, and now it's all about opening it up. Can I make up any more positions and drop him off? Adam comes around with Richard there, and we just run out of road a little bit. Managed to get Rich into the top 10, not quite onto the podium, but it was a great race. It was good fun, attacking, still managed to get involved in the sprint, and we probably want to get organised a little bit more for the next race. So absolutely things for us to work on. But that's bike racing, and we absolutely love it. Hope you've enjoyed this commentary video from Mountbatten Easter Circuits. Thanks again to the organisers for putting on such an amazing race. And all of the races in that series are brilliant, so get yourself down there if you're keen to get stuck into crit racing. Drop us a like, drop us a comment, let us know what we should do better for next time. Always keen to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more of this content, and we will see you in the next one.